Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Unlocking the Magic of Leadership. Now, this week we are going to be diving into 2025, y'all. Happy New Year. I hope you had an absolutely amazing, safe, magical, and joyous holiday season. Now, if you're anything like me, when you start prepping for the new year, there's a professional component to that. Looking to better understand how can you show up at this best version of yourself professionally this year. It is a time of excitement and energy and joy, maybe a little bit of anxiousness and unsurety. So to help you begin preparing, I'm going to offer you 3 tips for this week on how you can best unlock your unique magic for leadership. Now, the first tip that we are going to offer is around spending some time in reflection to better understand your strengths. Now, for many of us, spending time in reflection is a foreign concept. Spending time just being and not doing feels really uncomfortable. But this is where amazing things happen. Because if you think about it, a lot of times we have our best ideas in the shower or on a long drive or right before we go to bed. What do all of those have in common? We're on autopilot. So our brain isn't having to focus on what it's doing, which means it can start pulling in some of that stuff that's been bubbling in the back and start connecting those dots. And so as you're going through and you're starting to plan out for the year, spend some time in reflection. What are your strengths? How do you want them to show up this year? What are ways that you can be intentional about building those strengths up so they become superpowers? Now, the second tip that we're going to offer is to spend some time having conversations with peers, colleagues, mentors, coaches, people that know you and people that you respect their feedback, and ask them what makes you unique. Because when we start thinking about our superpowers and what makes us unique, we tend to have this false idea that if I'm good at this, other people are good at it as well. And so we minimize what those are. Also, I can think of something as a strength where people around me might think of it as more of an opportunity. So an example, when I was at Disney, one of my strengths is I get shit done, y'all. That is a strength of mine. When you look at my Clifton top strengths, they all come together. That is my superpower, is I get it done. And I get it done yesterday. When I was leading people, that could be an opportunity because I would get it done at all cost, stepping on people. I didn't know that because I'm looking at it, it's my strength. This is the stuff that's good. And so ask those individuals around you to ensure that how you're showing up, how you think you're showing up, is how you're actually showing up. And you've heard me say this before, we judge ourselves based on intent. What did we intend to do? Others judge us based on impact. What did we actually do? By asking these questions, we're bridging the gap between intent and impact. All right. Now, the third tip is putting yourself in positions to learn and adapt. Being able to handle change is going to be a differentiator. It's always been a differentiator, but even more so now. When we think about just the amount of change in the past year, it is phenomenal and overwhelming. So being able to lead, learn, and adapt, those 3 things are going to be the trifecta of what helps people set themselves apart. So if you don't have those opportunities to learn and adapt, maybe you're in a job and you're like, Summer, my job is good. Like, I have the balance I need. I have what I need. I'm not trying to change it. You don't just find these opportunities in professional. So is there something that you can volunteer with? Are you part of a faith organization that you can become more active with? Are you part of an association? So looking at those volunteer opportunities to also step up and get the opportunities to learn and adapt. And if you do want it in your organization, then having conversations with your direct leader to let them know this is what you're looking for. This is a key area that you would like to focus on. And if they see an opportunity, you would love to be considered. Now, I do want to do a quick caution on this one. While we all have opportunities and we want to ensure that we're working on them so they're at the baseline, don't build these learning opportunities, these growth opportunities based on your weaknesses. Build them based on your strengths. Take a strength, turn it into a superpower. Because if it's something that's a true weakness of yours, at best you'll be average. No matter how much work you put into it, you will be average. And so don't spend a ton of time trying to be average at something, and instead spend that time, less energy, becoming exceptional at it. All right, that's it for this week, Unlocking the Magic of Leadership. Your 3 tips: reflect on your strengths, have conversations with those close to you and ask them what makes you unique. Make sure that your strengths line up with what they're thinking. And then the third is put yourself in positions to where you can learn and adapt. Have an absolutely amazing week. And don't forget, as always, you got this. I'll see you next week.